Hey kids, it's Old Man Shouting at Clouds, and now with others too. Chatting about the CFL is what they're going to do. Some have no contacts and others have no clues. Everyone will tell us all their quirky football views. Hear what Old Man and others know. It's the CFL Outsiders Show.
Hey GT, what are we going to do this week?
Same thing we do every week, old man. Take over the CFL.
Hey kids, welcome back to another episode of the CFL Outsiders. I remain, as always, your 100% impartial, completely unbiased, and, frankly, at a bit of a low ebb host, Old Man Shouting at Clouds. And for the panel this week, besides the regulars, we've got MJ2 making an appearance. Welcome back, MJ2.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Shout out from Calgary, where my neighborhood's a little more quiet now that Stampede is over.
And, of course, the usual rogues, GT.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Another week. Here we go.
Yeah. And MJ wearing a very nice Montreal jersey.
Oh, yeah. We all know why. I just want to say thank you to everyone who attended my Tycats therapy session last week. And you stuck through it. Thank you for letting me get my feelings out.
Yeah, definitely needed. And it's very good that we got MJ2 here to take up a bit of the slack, because frankly, I'm just hoping I make it through the show here. I apologize in advance. Something in the backyard started pollen producing today, and my allergies have just gone completely off the rails. I'm going to try and get through this and then load up on as much Benadryl as I can legally take and go to sleep. So, best of luck for me, I guess, with the show. We'll see how everybody else is going. But to start us off this week, MJ, you said you had, speaking of the Tiger Cats and therapy, a game you wanted us to play.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't laugh, we're going to cry. So let's play a game. Which former Ticat quarterback is going to come save the day? I have 5 choices for you. Rank them in order of 1 to 5.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right. Number 1, Dane Evans.
Oh, we're going to do it blind?
Here now.
Yes.
It's a blind ranking.
It's a blind. It's a blind ranking.
I'll play it safe and put Dane at number 3. Who's going to jump in next?
Yeah, I got him at 3.
I'm going to go with number 4.
Okay.
MJ2?
3. Yeah.
3.
All right.
Like you, in the middle.
Jeff Matthews.
Jeff Matthews.
Wow. Yeah, I'll put him 5.
Jeff Matthews. I'm trying to think who could be worse. That's the trick in this list.
Well.
Yeah, I'm going to put 2.
So
You're going to. All right.
I'm going 5 as well. Jeff Matthews at 5. So there you go.
All right. Matthew Schiltz.
Yeah.
I better put him at 2.
I'm going to put him at 3.
Putting him at 4.
Okay. Jeremiah Mazzoli.
Well, I've got 1 and 4 left, so I better say 4.
2.
And 5 is good, right? Or is 1
5
good?
is the worst. 1 is the best.
Well, I've messed my game. I knew it doesn't matter. Number 1 for Mazzoli.
All right. And number 5, former Ticat quarterback to parachute in to help save the season, Danny McManus.
That was one I wasn't expecting. Despite his age, I will put him at number 1.
With his big rib
That's all I
guard.
got left.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny would be number 1.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Danny Mac.
I knew you needed a laugh.
Yeah.
All right, Danny, come save us.
I was waiting for Casey Printers. That's what I was expecting.
Well, I mean, there were so many amazing ones to choose from. Quentin Porter, Dan Lefevre, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Johnny Manziel. I was waiting for Johnny Football.
Manziel.
Yes.
Just so many amazing options.
No.
You could have put Jason Moss on the list.
But he's coaching GT.
Yeah,
How
well,
could
he might
come
help out.
save the
He
Ticats?
might feel badly enough that he might help out.
Yeah.
He's not playing until 2 days later or the next
yeah.
day. He could
Sure,
do
you could do
both.
both. You could do both.
And his team
Sure.
seems to be operating well enough without him anyway.
They don't need him. You're right. You're right. Jason Moss, please come help us.
Yes. I think it was on Reddit last week. We were having a little bit of a joke fest about that, and names like Matt Dunnigan were coming up, and Michael Bishop. And someone asked what Darian Durant, Double D's, was doing these days.
I mean, that's Kevin Glenn. Kevin Glenn.
Kamari Jones, Quentin
All right.
Porter.
Yeah.
These are all people that could come out.
Yes.
It couldn't
And
go
all would
worse.
probably be better than
can't
Jake
go worse.
Alagala, unfortunately.
I'd rather have
There'll
Danny
be stuff to
McManus.
talk about in the game. But
Oh,
moving on, so we don't get
Thanks for the
too
laugh,
bogged down.
everyone.
Yeah, little bits of news here and there. Not a lot this week, but we've got some things that we're going to talk about that aren't necessarily news too. So, but in the news, BC has now hired their new special teams coordinator, Dennis McKnight. He has been in the CFL before and spent a bunch of time in the AFL, UFL, whatever it was at the time. He started in Edmonton in 2011. He's a former offensive lineman. He was the O-line coach and special teams coordinator there. Then in Hamilton, he was special teams coordinator in 2018 and back again in 2024 and 25. And then there were stints, like I said, in the spring leagues from there. I don't know him much. Maybe as Hamilton fans, you'll know him better. What do you think? Is he a good fit?
So he is a man who looks like he would make you run suicide sprints at the end of practice. But I think that, because he replaced someone. They fired some guy, in 2024, halfway through, didn't they? And he came in?
Yeah, I was trying to remember if he was the guy they fired or whether he was the guy that they replaced after they fired somebody.
I think they replaced because he was their special teams coordinator last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised. I guess they needed to give Bob Dice another role. So he was odd man out.
but I loved how they, I forget what article I read, and they're talking about how he's like, oh no, I was just at home. And talking about just how much I love football. And sure, why not come back to coach? And his wife was like, wait, what? You said we were done. And maybe that's just me paraphrasing, but I thought it was pretty funny. I think Hamilton did okay on special teams. So
they did.
like he said in the article, sharpen those tackles. He's got the personnel. And I think you folks talked about that last time. He's got the personnel. It's just, how do you make sure that they know how to properly tackle or when to or how to? And hopefully can turn it around.
If not, you're running suicides at the end of practice.
Well, he's an actual lineman, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I'd like to know the list, though. They won't tell us, of course, but it would be interesting to see the list of people that they actually interview. Because it does seem like, again, another, for want of a better word, retread of another guy. And it's like, I just wish there was new blood occasionally, rather than getting the same old group of guys recycling through again. So.
Has he worked with any of the other staff that's currently coaching BC? That I have no idea. I wonder what sort of brought him in.
From his resume, I don't think so. Based on his resume versus the other, I didn't read that anywhere, but based on where he had been and where the current coaching staff has been, I don't think so. I don't think there's been a lot of continuity.
I think it'd be pretty hard to drop a rookie special teams coordinator in, though, 6 weeks in. Hopefully they'll have someone better, but for now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so,
I will say, as a former O-lineman myself, we absolutely hated suicide sprints. So, of course, if you get a chance to inflict them on somebody else, you will.
Of course.
It's always fun being coach.
Okay, so fingers crossed he's a good fit for BC because, they've been struggling a bit, although they did some better in the last game. Let's jump on Lyrical Eloquence. I don't know if you are familiar with this, MJ2, but this is something where we've started dropping in little lines from songs and inviting the followers, the listeners to pick them out. Now, I have to admit, I was bad last week. I forgot to put mine in.
Oh, good, because I was trying to figure out where yours was, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm glad that you fessed up and said you didn't have one.
Yeah. Okay, so how about you, GT?
Yes, I did have one last week, and it was based on the Stampeders the previous week and the performance by VA. And it was, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight, Phil Collins? Yeah. And I believe, before MJ gives it away, I think I got hers, but I want her to tell us what it is first, and then I will say whether I got it right or not.
Okay.
Karma is a breeze in my hair on the weekend. A little more Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Again? Okay. That's not what I heard.
Oh, did I accidentally say another one? How exciting for me.
Yeah, you had used it twice, and so I thought that was the trick with Stampede and everything going on. And I know your beloved Stampede Bowl just finishing, that I thought you'd used all hat, no cattle.
Oh, I did!
Yeah.
I did. You're right. I did too, Lyrics.
I wasn't sure which version you were using, whether it was the 2017 Trace Atkins or the 2022 Gene Watson. So I was like, I don't know which one she's using there.
I knew it was a song lyric. I didn't know which version. It sums up my country music knowledge. I'm like, it was a song. Don't ask me from who.
All right, so now we just have to every week look up every Taylor Swift song, and we'll maybe figure this out.
There's only one that I
quote. Okay, there's only one Taylor Swift. I've often said that, but nobody listens to me when I say that.
All righty. So see what you can listen to for this week. We'll see what we get. We also wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that apparently Mr. Kelly, Chad, is not happy with the schedule and then starting the first third of the season on the road. Now, MJ, you brought this up, so I'm going to let you talk about it. But my initial comment is I don't think he should be telling the public about it. There's somebody in the building he could talk to.
Yeah, I was like, sir, please direct your comments to the management.
Yeah.
He's mad about his hour commute. He's like, we have to commute an hour. And I was like, oh, okay. Also, maybe talk to your management about Touchdown Guelph.
Yeah.
Yes.
Since you have all your offices there.
Where did this come from?
It was a quote. I will read it for you. Toronto quarterback Kelly says FIFA's takeover of BMO Field for the World Cup has played a major role in the team's early season struggles, forcing the Argos to be on the season with an unprecedented road trip. The team has also been displaced from its practice facilities and offices, forcing some players to commute more than an hour each day. It's unprecedented, etc., etc.
All right, so that's the story, but I didn't hear a quote from him anywhere in that. I just heard a reporter regurgitating what we've known for a year.
It says like Argos quarterback Chad Kelly says FIFA's takeover of BMO Field for the World Cup has played a major role in the team's early season struggles.
Sure.
But I was like, but I just saw that we have to commute, and I laughed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, take it up with the LSE, please, not us.
Yes, exactly. Well, they had many choices.
Well, and after all of the discussions about how amazing, Touchdown BC, or not Touchdown BC, what was it called?
Touchdown Kelowna.
Touchdown Kelowna, there we go. After all of the praise for Touchdown Kelowna and how much work went into that and the promotion of that and getting involved in the community. And I don't know what Mike Pinball Clemens' job is in the Toronto organization, but I feel like that's, again, a ball dropped by him, because that seems like something that he would be on top of, is building those connections in the community, especially if they made that big deal about moving to Guelph. They made that big video. So I just think, what a lost opportunity for the Argos that BC capitalized on, making the best of, maybe not great situation. And I say it's all right. My
Cats played there for a year.
They did. They did.
Don't talk to us about
that commute all year.
Cats had to commute for a year, Chad.
Yeah. Again, guys, so wait. I think you're overreacting to something that may not be Chad. Reread it. I don't see a quote there. Let's not dump it on him. They mentioned him. And again, this is some reporter, from what you've just told me, and without sourcing it, I don't know where it came from, whether it was a legitimate reporter, whether it was some Cub guy that just all of a sudden wants a quote because of Touchdown Kelowna and how great it's been, and all of a sudden wants to find out how come the Argos. This stuff is not news anymore.
No, it was a quote out of 3 Down Nation. So it was a football reporter that did it.
Oh, there's quotes. There's quotes. There's lots of quotes from Chad in this article.
Oh, there's always quotes from him. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't keep his lips closed. He's quotable. Move on. I've got another thing that I'm a lot more upset with the Argos about than something like that. So that they buggered up way worse than that, than going to Guelph every day, an hour's commute, whatever it is. And I've heard nothing but good things about Guelph in the meantime, and how much people, the players have enjoyed it and liked the stadium and liked the facilities and so on and so forth. So there's that. But anyways, I was going to talk about my little rant on the Argos later.
Okay, well,
It's
we'll get
interesting
back to that.
He does admit it's just what it is. Like, that's how the quote ends. It's just what it is right now.
Yeah.
And so clearly expressing what maybe a lot of people in the locker room are also saying.
Yeah, it is what it is. And the quote is true. It's not the best situation. As you're right, MJ2, they should have done it. But that's, again, not Michael Pinballs Clemens' situation. That's the MLSE and the bigwigs that made that decision. He's just toting the company line, and that's all he can do.
It's fairly apparent, at least to me, that they put money ahead of the players and the fans to get it done.
And again, we've been saying that since it was announced in December or whenever it was.
Long time.
Yeah.
MJ2, when you decided to jump in this week, you said you wanted to talk about some potential records that might fall.
Speaking of Chad Kelly, a man we love to talk about, going back to the Stampede Bowl and how much fun it was to watch VA break some of those franchise records. Well, not break, but he tied people like Garcia and Flutie. So he's being mentioned with some of those people, and that got me really excited about some of these players that are having this fabulous season, and not just having a great season, but are on pace to break some records. And I thought, let's talk about some of those, because I think that's why we love this game so much, is because we're always pushing. And as much as I don't like Kelly, he is on pace. He's chasing down the passing yards, total passing yards. The record is held by Doug Flutie at 6,619. And if Kelly stays on pace, he's going to blow past that. And they're saying he could have up to 6,000, close to 6,500 by the end of the season. So, I mean, as much as he's complaining about doing the drive, something is working this season for him. So that's exciting. But there's 2 names on this list that they have multiples. So I want you to try and guess. So they are both on the offense. Neither are quarterbacks. One is chasing 3 records and one is chasing 2 records. One is from the East. One is from the West. Do you think you know who they are?
I think I know who they are.
I know who they are.
I'm pretty sure I know who they are.
Yes.
They've been talking about them all season long, so it's pretty hard not to know who they are.
Yeah.
One's name starts with an R.
Yes. But
And one is a twin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
the
interesting.
Herdman Reed's going to break a record this year?
But I thought it was interesting that Rankin's on pace to beat 3 records this year. He's chasing the total scrimmage yards. He's chasing down total touchdowns, chasing after Milt. All I can think about is Milt chasing that cow. So put Rankin in a cow outfit. I don't know. But this one was interesting to me the most, is something that has never been done before is Rankin. He's on pace to get 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving yards. And that would be a new record completely this year. So good on him. Yeah. And then Phil Pott, he's chasing receptions and receiving yards, trying to beat Daryl Mitchell and Alan Pitts. And then we've got our quarterbacks, VA for passing touchdowns, and then Alexander for passing yards, both chasing down Flutie. So, I mean, to have that many records on pace to be broken, if you're thinking back, like some of these records are quite old, like Alan Pitts, Milt Stiegel, like, yeah. So as much as there are some teams that are stinking it up, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, a lot of good play going on. Maybe it's just me and my attitude towards these things, but I don't get terribly excited about these potential records until we're at least into the last third of the season, because there's so much with injuries. Or Rankin is probably, as long as he stays healthy, it's more on him. But if as far as Philpott goes, if Alexander gets hurt, that probably takes away a lot of his chances, let alone him getting hurt himself.
It's not just that they're having one game. They're just up. They're just consistent every game, no matter what the other team does. I don't see either team as a fluke anymore. So I think both of them could break all of those records. There was a couple of other ones. You talked about Chad Kelly and getting him there, but I think Bo was on pace as well at one point when he had those first 3 games. I think he was on pace to go for that. That would have been 3 seasons in a row, well over 5,000 yards. And I wasn't sure if anybody else had done that. Even back in the heyday of the Dunnigan and Flutie era in the early 90s, I'm not sure that any one of them went 3 years in a row well over 5,000. So, and maybe they did, and maybe I just don't remember. But I thought that was pretty impressive as well when you mentioned records that could be broken this year. Both Philpott and Rankin should go for it. So.
Yeah. Well, and I know that Smith from Hamilton, he's over 70 consecutive games with a catch. And so I'm thinking how many guys in that race as well right now.
70 games is a long way from the record on that one. I'm going off the top of my head now. I know it was Don Narcisse with the Riders that holds the record, and I think it's 201 games. So
he's got a few games left to go.
Let us have something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it won't happen.
We can't have Bo. We can't have Smith.
We can't have anything nice. Just let us have one. I'm glad the defenses are letting them push it this year. It's been nice.
Yeah. Well, and I think VA is in good company, like Flutie, Garcia, like for Calgary. Again, thinking of franchise records.
Yeah, there's been some great football offense played.
Yeah, there was interesting. I saw just while we're briefly on that subject, I saw an interview with Flo today from the Stampeders Ormelade, and they asked him about how do you stop those high scoring offenses this year. He says, we're not giving up more yardage than we did last year. If you look around the defenses across the league, the yardage is the same. It's just explosive plays, and it's everywhere. He said, we're not sure, but we're trying to figure it out. And every team's in the same position. It's a quarterback play is just way up this year. And that's basically what everybody on television seems to be saying in the last couple of weeks as well. So until this week.
Unfortunately, with Bogon, that's one less amazing performance per week that we're missing. I'll just quickly say here, because we've been tracking it every week, attendance was back up this week. The average was just shy of 23,000. Winnipeg, of course, was the top. They had 32,000 and change. And Edmonton was the lowest, but they were just shy of 16,000. So that's a considerable improvement over what they've been getting last year. And go figure. The name is still the Elks, and people are coming back.
And it
What
was
could be the
only
difference?
the one day of that week it didn't rain.
Well, I want to go see Rankin play. I would love to see him play live.
Well, and a 4-1 record sort of helps too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's enough of that. Signings and releases this week. I only caught one. I don't know if anybody else saw any, and that was just today. The Redblacks signed Dante Ruffin as a DB. Last I heard, he was in the BC training camp and got cut. And, of course, he had been with Montreal before that, and I'm not sure if he was anywhere else or not. But he's there, and that kind of makes sense with Bennett Williams being out with the Achilles. They need somebody else with some experience in there. We also wanted to talk, I'm not sure if it's MJ or MJ2 that was going to talk about the NFL being at the Stampede, Calgary Stampede.
I just wanted to quickly mention it because it's everywhere I go. This NFL had a booth at the Calgary Stampede this year, and I think MJ2 could probably tell you better what the booths entail, but they won Best Show Guest Experience Award at the BMO Center they partnered up with a local Alberta boot company for NFL boots that you could win, and they partnered with a Canadian clothing company, Boathouse, for a 9-piece clothing collection for NFL Stampede gear, and a few of the teams are there, and the Vikings actually held a free flag football and cheerleading clinic in Calgary during Stampede for kids. They didn't say how many people were at flag, but they had 150 people at the cheer
That's
training.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
not so much from the CFL, I'm guessing.
Yeah. MJ, so I live in Calgary, as I've mentioned, and was in town during Stampede. And I don't often go down to the grounds, but I do every once in a while. And if I had known that the Grey Cup was in town, I probably would have gone to see it. Like, that to me is a fun thing to do because it's not usually just the cup that's there. I think of when they did the train, the CFL train where it toured. It's not just usually the cup that shows up. So yeah, I'm curious what was there, but I have no idea because I didn't even know it was there.
Or like the Stampede Bowl trophy
Yeah.
with some Stampeders. I don't know. Were they in the parade? I wonder if they were in the parade with their Stampede
I think they were in the parade. I believe I saw an article saying they were in the parade.
Yeah. Earn some of that marketing money they make. Yeah. It's good the CFL had the cup, the Grey Cup there, but if nobody knows about it, how does it help? So, like I said, I'm at a low ebb. I'm probably overly cynical.
Just try a little bit harder, CFL, because the NFL is really encroaching on your market.
The Stampede is a one-of-a-kind thing, but just about every province has a big provincial fair at some point.
Yep.
Why isn't the CFL out getting a booth at those things and promoting themselves some? Yeah.
The Elks could have had like a visitor, like enemy booth.
Yeah. Yes. There we go. Yes.
Yes.
That's something that's actually something the riders would have done. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't. You're right. That's something the riders could have done and would.
They could have had like a green booth and they could have taken turns.
Yeah. You're welcome, Mr. Johnson and all the club presidents. These ideas are free to you. Okay, I'm going to just mention a couple of things quick because they came up after I went through the show rundown, so you won't see them on there, but I thought they were worth mentioning, and you can comment or not if you want. The first one is that we're at halfway through July now, and the riders announced they've sold out the Labor Day Classic. So that's good news for support and for the league and all. And then the second one was a report, unfortunately, of a death, but I think the fellow, was 89. He was a rider, and I didn't even recognize the name. Mind you, he came into the league basically a year after I was born. So Saskatchewan Rough Riders quarterback and DB Bob Patak, I believe, is closest I can get to it. The reason that I included this in was an interesting little bit of history. He was traded to the Riders from the Cleveland Browns of the NFL, and they sent defensive lineman Jim Marshall down to the Browns in exchange. So an interleague trade.
Wow. That is
didn't
interesting.
even know that happened.
Yeah. And what year was that?
Imagine
that was in 1959.
Okay, cool.
Can you imagine QBing and then being like, okay, now I'm off to DB?
That's what I was going to say. The game has definitely changed.
Changed.
Yes. The article I saw on 3 Down, that they said he was a very respected two-way player. He was good in both sides. So we've got a league now where you basically can't breathe on a quarterback. And back then they finish throwing the ball and go make tackles. Iron Man football. It was a different sort of time.
Yeah. People on, like special teams and maybe defense or offense, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Payroll's small, guys. Payroll is small.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing is, back in those days, the NFL was not paying substantially more than the CFL, if at all. In fact, I remember hearing that George Reed had an offer to go play in the NFL, but the Riders were paying him more, so he just stayed. So
there you go.
Another change between the two. All right, let's see. What else have we got? Well, we're going to get to the game recap, but the other thing we'll do real quick is our fantasy recap in case anybody gives a damn. For myself, I managed to win and get up to 3-3, back to 500.
Excellent.
Last week, I had 132.1 points, I think, and I was top scorer in the league. This week, I had 116.3, and out of a 16-team league, I was 13th.
Wow.
So everybody, I've started taking Rankin as a defensive move because I figure everybody's going to have him. I've got to at least match that. What I discovered is that half the league took him as their captain as well. So they're doubling up the points on him, and that got it there. But my opponent was Shot from the Hips podcast, and they didn't even have a full team. So, like I said, a bit of a gimme for me. They only had 52.3 points.
It's like you were playing Ottawa.
Sorry.
Well done. Very well. MJ, how did you do?
I was not playing Ottawa.
Yeah.
I was up against Katie Kamish, who is the top person in the league, and she beat me by 20 points. But I had the 139.7. I didn't even have a bad week, but she had Rankin as her captain, and I did not. That's the sad, sad tale.
So where's your record at right now then?
Oh.
3-3?
I must be 3-3 now.
Adam Stewart out of Canadian Football Countdown is the league commissioner, even though there is a player who calls himself Commish KD. But Adam didn't get the results out yet today. So I'm hoping I've crawled back up into the playoffs in the top 8, but we'll have to wait and see. Do you know who you're up against next week, MJ?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, you can tell us
I
then.
don't know. It'll be a surprise for next week.
Yes. Yes. Keep people on their edge of their seat.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm still too scared to make anyone but my quarterback my captain, and then I keep getting burned. But I just know if I pick someone to be my captain, they're going to get like 2 passes thrown their way.
Yes. Well, I'm a little more open to the idea, and I may get to it, but not next week. I will take Rankin. I'll say right now, I'll take Rankin because he'll get it. He gets, 18, 20 points minimum, which justifies spending the money on him. But I hope people make him the captain because he's back against BC where they shut him down fairly well. And yeah, you got passing yardage, but we'll see. Anyway, that takes us to the games. And speaking of that game, Ottawa goes to Edmonton and loses 40-17. And basically I started out saying they didn't have any answer for Rankin, but that's not true. Their D-line and the linebackers did a relatively good job on stopping him short within, a few yards of the line several times. And they also picked up sacks. So that part did okay. But the problem was anytime he got passed to second level, he was just embarrassing people. In the open field, nobody can touch him. And I think that's maybe as much reputation now as anything. I'm reminded of Barry Sanders down in the NFL watching him run. And if he broke into the open, people immediately started running backwards and hoping they could catch him 30 yards downfield. And that's what I'm seeing with Rankin. But anyway, so there was that. He ended up with 150 total yards, 14 carries, 3 receptions, 3 TDs. And just like I said, they had no answer for that. On the other side, Edmonton's pass defense was quite good. 2 interceptions by Jackson, 1 each by Ford and Garnes, and J.J. Ross made some nice plays, including a beautiful knockdown against Eugene Lewis. Then in the fourth quarter, the floodgates just opened and they scored, what was it? I think they scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. So that was it. Who wants to talk about this? You're in Edmonton, MJ. You go first.
Well, I was actually out that night, so I didn't even get to watch the game, but I have a few little notes. Yeah, Rankin unstoppable, really. The Redblacks ran Bell for 7 times. 7 times for an entire game I don't get it. I don't understand it. I guess maybe Edmonton was scheming for it. He is the highest paid running back in the CFL, is he not?
I don't think so. He might be the highest paid American, but I think Brady makes more than he does.
Highest paid American running back with 7 carries for 19 yards.
Mind you, when they were averaging like 2.5 yards a carry. So how much can you keep doing that?
The Redblacks, I feel bad because this is my note. I have Ottawa's defense is good. They have good special teams and their receivers are good. Their quarterback is bad. And your defense will keep you in games for a while. And they kept them in there because I was looking at the score while I was at the theater. I was checking the score at the intermission. And it was close. It was close. They were keeping them in it. And then, in the fourth quarter, your defense is tired. They've been on the field the whole game. They're exhausted. And then you just get run over eventually. I just have my 2 special teams notes. One, Noah Getman had a really nice bounce back game for the Redblacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're going to talk about Saskatchewan and kicking issues, and I just want to say Vincent Blanchard did not have a good first year, and look how well he's doing now. So I'm happy they stuck with him, and yeah, Edmonton looks good.
Okay. Thank you. How about you, MJ2? Did you get a chance to see this one?
I had a soccer game that night, so I caught highlights, but I was just texting with MJ this week saying, imagine if you had stuck with Drew Brown. Imagine. And I know we can't, but I just feel like, yeah, I agree that your defense can keep you in it for only so long. And then, if you don't have, like, Cody Fajardo's making way more completions than Mayer. So at some point, if you're not running and you're not completing throws, you're not going to win, no matter how good your defense is.
Okay. And we'll bring in our Tommy Stevens to close this one off. GT, what do you got to say?
Absolutely nothing, because this one I laughed earlier as MJ2 was talking about soccer, because that makes three of us that did not see this game, and and so we're 3-0. And it's only because I didn't see any of the games over the weekend live, and I only saw portions of them on replay, and I'll talk about each one. It was a disastrous weekend for my viewing scheduling. It was just fell apart totally. And this was the game I was least interested in, because it ended up scoring exactly as I suspected it would be. So it was like I didn't even care if I missed this game, and it sounds like I didn't miss anything. So I didn't even watch the highlights. All this is news to me other than what the score was. I read yesterday at some point and went, oh, okay, that's what I suspected would happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I have to say about it. So, and yeah, I'm just thinking Edmonton is proving that they are a good team. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
we should have got my mom on the podcast, because she for sure watched that game and was trying to text us about it, and we weren't watching. Sorry, Mom.
She was. She's like so excited to finally have something to cheer about.
I did see this game, and I will say that a couple of interesting little quirks about it. And one thing I noticed was, I'm 99% sure on this. I didn't actually go back through all the plays, but from what I saw, it was one play into the second quarter, and Edmonton had a 7-point lead. That was the first time they threw a pass across the line of scrimmage. Their entire first quarter was screen passes, rank and runs, and that worked.
So you're grinding
so
down
then,
the
if you don't mind, I'm just going to interject there, because if that was the first game of the weekend, then that seemed to be the theme of the weekend, because all I saw in all the games and all they seemed to talk about in all the games was bubble screens and screen passes, and how every offense is utilizing that so much now. It's very hard for the defenses to do anything about it. And maybe that's, again, a reason that the offensive output is up this year. Defenses so far haven't been able to adjust to that bubble screen and that screen pass and those quick slants that all the offenses seem to be running this year.
And when you couple that with, I think Rankin had at least 3 runs of 15 to 20 yards in the quarter, so it was easy to play like that. But the other thing, which probably says as much about where Ottawa is at right now as anything, was there was a point late in the game, they were already down considerably, and they had 3rd and 10 and decided they were going to go for it, which, makes some sense at that point. You've got to start scoring some points. They didn't get the decision quick enough, so they had to take their time out, came over to the sideline, regrouped, got it ready to go, went back in, and almost took a time count. You could see the quarterback realize with about 2 seconds to go that he had to get the ball snapped, got it snapped, and in the rush threw another interception. They don't seem to be in the games. Their heads just aren't there. And I can understand, losing is not all that motivating. And if you've got a coach that's tearing strips off players in public, that's not motivating either. I hope it gets better, but this game didn't show anything to me that gave much hope for that.
That's like a show up, get your paycheck game.
Can't collect your paycheck game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're only game 6 of the schedule and they're already collecting paychecks. That's a horrible sign for another 12 games to go.
Yeah.
Right?
At what point do you think they make a coaching change? But maybe they don't.
They can't afford to.
They can't because they're
so tied up with money now. They can't do it because of the coaching cap. They just can't do it.
Do you think they'll fire Sean Burke?
They are in Edmonton 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They are in Edmonton zone 3 years ago. Stop.
And until they find a quarterback, I don't know the coaching is going to matter.
Well, McLeod Bethel, when he got sacked on his first series out there.
Yeah.
Welcome back, BT.
Not good. However, what was good was the next night was the Winnipeg defense. I've got to say, I was very impressed with the game plan they had for Toronto. They found a way to limit Kelly. They didn't shut him down completely. Toronto got 21 points. Winnipeg got 30 and got the win. And Drew Brown looked okay in there, but they also got a lot of field goals. They weren't finishing off drives. They got one offensive touchdown and one on a return. And other than that, it was all field goals. Couple of things could have changed this game around. They did march down on their first drive and got to about somewhere around the 10, I think, when Wilson fumbled and gave the ball over to Toronto, and Toronto couldn't do anything with it. If they'd been able to move it at that point, that might have helped. And there were at least twice in the first quarter that Brown would have been intercepted if the Toronto DBs could catch. So there was some luck in it, but full credit to them. And I know I've said before that I don't think Willie J is the player he once was, and I stand by that. But on this night, he was. He had a whale of a game. Did you get to see any of this one, GT?
Now, I kind of assumed it was a Toronto victory going into that game. And then after hearing the score, I was like, I've got to rewatch this. So it was one of the games, actually the only game of the weekend that I watched from start to finish. And it was a very good game. I was very impressed with Winnipeg's defense, and I was impressed just enough with their offense to that, it looked like the game. The score looked like the game. I thought there was some very good plays, and then Coxie getting tossed, I thought was a little weak, but it is what it is, right? The penalty. So, and because it looked like he got his ankle twisted, so I can understand why. And the guy laid on top of him for a little bit and looked like he was still twisting well after the play was over. So I can understand, like, get off of me, maybe swearing and stuff, and even the hand slap, enough's enough. But again, that's a head slap and it's an automatic ejection. I was a little surprised at the way he went out with his, all the bravado. I thought that was just nonsense. I mean, whatever, you're losing in the game and you're been kicked out. So what are you doing? But I guess that's
he
what
was trash talking the Bombers bench earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, sir, you are losing.
Yeah.
And then apparently the head slap, he had been doing that several times. And the refs had spoken to him and reminded him that this could be a disqualification penalty. And he just apparently did not care. He had a little bee in his bonnet that night, right? I couldn't even figure out the hand gesture he was doing to the crowd after. But I was like, this isn't a way to treat your home fans, Coxie. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But that's a selfish penalty because you're one of their top receivers.
Absolutely.
That is super selfish. And if they had given him some chances and he was still going to pull that, like, you could just tell he was just in a mood, right? Like, off you go, go cool off.
Yeah. Maybe he's frustrated with the commute too.
He's watching too much FIFA.
Okay. What did you think, MJ2?
Oh, well, you know what? I feel bad because I made fun of Tim White earlier in the season. And as much as it pains me to see Ticats leave and do well because they're not with the Ticats anymore, I was really happy for him that, he is doing well and he had a good game, started at well anyway. So I was happy to see that. And then anytime Vavel, I know he messed up a bit, but anytime he can run a long run like that, I get really excited. And I just think of the excitement around him last year, and is he living up to that? And so I was happy to see that for him.
Yeah, that was a great play.
And way to make up for your mistake, right? I was like, when he bobbled that, and I was like,
play.
No. And I was like, he went and fixed that mistake in a huge, big way. Like, good job, Vavel. Because a lot of people would just, have a shit game after that.
Yeah.
Winnipeg was lucky they were able to get that timeout in time because you could hear the whistle going, but Toronto trying to get that kick in. And the first one was successful.
O'Shea icing the kicker.
Yeah.
We're talking about a winning attitude versus just collecting your paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about Toronto, taking selfish penalties as much as you want to talk about, is it news or not, but things that you're saying in the media.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we've got Winnipeg, we want to win. What does a winning culture look like?
Yeah.
You put all those pieces together. And like you said, GT, you thought this would be an easy Toronto victory. Not easy, but you were expecting that. And then to have that be the outcome. So good on Winnipeg.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't have thought going into the season, certainly I didn't have Winnipeg projected to be 3-2 at this point of the game of the season and looking like a team that has a legitimate shot of at least causing some disruptions through the rest of the season and into the playoffs. And certainly after this week, after losing Caleros, again, you wouldn't have expected this. So kudos to them, and that they've managed to hang in and get themselves in a position where they're still in the thick of it, and in fact, very much in the thick of it. So I will say that with that win and with the continuation, of the rest of the games, the West is going to be even more competitive, and certainly it looks like at this stage, I would strongly suspect we're going to be talking crossover again this year before this season is done.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it makes sense. As much as Winnipeg's offense is not firing on all cylinders yet, what you mentioned, those attention to details makes a real difference in a winning team. And you can see it in the teams that are doing well.
Chad cleaned up his interceptions. 0 interceptions. I think that's a first this year. I think he's thrown at least 1 or 2, if not 4 or 5 every game. So good job, Argos. So they've clearly been working on that. And Drew, the Bombers posted on their Instagram, and I quote, arm strength looked pretty good.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, Karma is a boy on the Bombers. And I was just didn't miss a beat, just went in there, didn't do anything crazy, right? There was nothing crazy, but he and Tommy Condell worked together for 2 years in Ottawa. He's played with Mike O'Shea before. He's played with the Bombers, but he's played with Brady before. And it was seamless. It was seamless. It looked like he had been there the whole time. And I just was so happy for him, considering how this year has gone for him. And his family came out down from Ottawa to see him play. And he's in the post game, he's like, I always play better when my family are here to see me. And he was just really gracious in that interview. Not like a stick it to the team. He was very gracious, and what a great guy. And I'm really happy for him.
Smiles return to the faces. Way to go, Drew Brown.
Looked good. The Bomber social media person is just the sassiest, most amazing human. I want to meet them in real life.
Yes. More salt in the wound for Redblack fans, unfortunately. Okay, but let's jump on now to where would we be at? This would be the Saturday game, which I imagine if any of you were recording and watching it later, you ran into the same issue I had, which was TSN decided at the last minute to bump it off the channel that it was set to record on and add a World Cup game, which was already playing on 2 other TSN channels. So
it needs to be on all 20 TSN channels.
I saw some stuff on
the England game?
Social media after that. Some people were complaining, others were going, oh, just change the channel. Well, not so easy to change the channel if you're not there, if you've got it recorded for later. So luckily I tried to go in about half an hour, 40 minutes late, and it wasn't on there. I got to the proper channel it was on, and so I only missed the first quarter, which included some good plays from what the highlights looked like. But basically, Montreal had come off a bye and used their time well. They had trick plays all over the place, including a lateral that was then a pass for a touchdown and a flea flicker and a bunch of other stuff. Close game, Calgary 30, Montreal 37, and Calgary came close to coming back at the end of the game and made it a very close thing. So let's maybe, GT, your team, you tell us how much of it you saw and what your thoughts were.
Okay, well, I decided, because it was a beautiful day and I got talked into it, to go for a walk. I'll watch the recording later. So I get home, I have all settled in to turn it on, and it's like, what is this? What is going on? 40 minutes of nonsense that is called, whatever game it's called. And then finally they cut into the Stampeders game, and it was a bad game from the Stampeders. They didn't play well. The score flattered them. In the end, they made it close, but that flattered them. And then in the last 3 minutes, when it was close and they were driving and they were down 2 touchdowns, because the recording that my brother-in-law had made for me, because I don't record, I squelch off of his recordings, because the soccer went so long, they cut off the last 3.5 minutes of the recording, so I didn't even get to see the end of the game either. So, yeah, it was an unmitigated disaster as a Stampeder fan trying to watch that game in my basement. from the recording issues to their own issues. It was not fun. But what I did see of the game, I will say this: they played badly. They didn't deserve to win. They made enough mistakes. They were behind the entire time. Montreal played an unbelievably smart game. And seemed to be doing everything right. The Stampeders seemed to have no answers whenever they got close. Montreal just did what they needed to do to get back in the lead and stay there. There was one play, the Otway play where he late hit on VA. That was ridiculous by Otway. That was a late hit. And then for that lineman to get that extra 15 yards or 20, that was the weakest call I've seen in a long time. He didn't do anything egregious. He just went out and sort of gave Otway a little push at best. I mean, that was a bad call. And I hope that if there's a protest that you can lodge against the league for bad calls, I hope the Stampeders did, because that was a pretty significant play. I think they managed a field goal out of it, but they certainly were driving, and that would have given them some momentum on a legitimate, after the whistle hit by Otway. That's what he's known for over the years. That's exactly what he's done. So, that I just was ticked about that too. By the end of the game, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But but I will say they did not deserve to win. So better luck this week.
I feel like if we're going to hand out disqualifications for rough play, that should be a disqualification for rough play.
Yeah.
That hit Otway gave on VA. Why is that not a disqualification?
When I saw it live, I thought Otway was trying to turn sideways and get out of the way and basically got hammered into him by another one of the Alouettes. But then on the replay, no, he came in and delivered a shoulder to the head and then turned sideways. So that should have a fine with it and whatnot. I will say on Desmarais, though, whether you agree with it or not, and it might have been a soft penalty, but to me, that's another selfish one. Yeah, you're supposed to protect your quarterback, but in a game that's right towards the end, you're fighting to get back into it. Don't leave it in the ref's hands to give them a reason to throw the flag. You've just picked up an extra 15 yards and increased your chances quite a bit. So
this is also the game.
So I disagree. I'm sorry. That's just a weak call that shouldn't have been called, because that, what is it? Yeah, I mean, so you're saying that you don't come to your guy's rescue? Like, that's just, no, I'm sorry. It's not a macho thing. It simply is, you've got to do that. You've got to show up. Somebody has to show up.
I think so, because then I think otherwise it invites headhunting.
Yeah.
Well, they took a 15-yard penalty. The league is doing what it's doing to take that stuff out. You're not going to change it by going after somebody. It's just selfish.
It's qualification.
It is.
But
why give the refs a chance?
This game also had a hands to the face call that took away a touchdown that I was like, I feel like these get done all the time that don't get called. So I don't know.
Old man, if he had come out, if Desmarais had come out and swung a punch at Otway, or had done something, that was like really bad, or even given him a two-handed vicious shove or something like that, but he didn't do any of that. It was just like, that's a football reaction. I mean, that's let him play on. That's a play on. That's all it is.
There were 4 other offensive linemen that did not do that.
And they should have. And every one of them should have. Somebody has to. Somebody has to stand up for that stuff. Yeah, sorry. Somebody has to stand up for that.
I would much rather take a chance to win than feeling good about showing I got my quarterbacks back. It's the timing. In the middle of the first quarter, go ahead. But when you're down by 2 scores and you're fighting for every yard to try and get into it again, giving up 15 makes no sense.
Thought it was a really soft call by the officials. Really soft. Given the circumstances, I thought it was really soft.
I just think a hit like that could have just taken VA out for the season.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. And the officials
you react appropriately, and I don't know. I think it's because of who it was as well. Yeah. It's because of who hit him.
The thing is that they had shown earlier in the game that they were calling the game fairly tight. So you've got to think about that. I didn't think the officiating was great in either of the last 2 games of the week. So there's there. But anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. One of the nicest plays by a defensive lineman I've seen all year was Mustafa Johnson on a stunt that came from defensive tackle outside to have outside contain and still got his sack on it. That was a brilliant play. And like I said, they were calling a lot of penalties. Calgary had 11 of them for 113 yards, and Montreal had 12 for 95 yards.
It's Stampede week. It was Saturday night. It was moving into the rodeo final. So that is what was on TV when I was trying to watch this game, and I was at someone else's house. And so check the scores, but watch some of the highlights, but that was about it. But I love this from Dave Dickinson. We get another chance at them next week. I just want to be better. That was really nice to hear from Dave Dickinson. You want a winning team. You want a winning culture. You get close. You had a bad game. You came close even though it was a bad game. You meet them again next week. How do you talk about your team in the media? I just want to be better. Didn't call anyone out. And I thought, well done, Dave Dickinson. Sometimes I get mad at him for his rants, but I thought, okay, I liked that.
Good point.
Just be better.
Well, the other thing that I thought showed up in this game was, again, winning teams have depth. And we saw that from Montreal. Ento was out at the corner. They had Callis in for him, and I thought he played a whale of a game. So, there's that. And then the last thing that I took note of was the fact that McAllister came very close to returning another punt to the house. And then the punter fought off the block and made the tackle. I didn't think punters were allowed to do that.
Didn't they just get mad at a punter last week
That
for
was
not?
Ottawa.
Yeah.
That was
Ottawa, sorry, Ottawa. Just keep adding logs onto
Yeah,
my
the shots
fire.
are too easy. We're going to lose any Red Black fan viewers we have, but hey, it's
Hang
not
in
easy
there.
being a fan at the
Niles
best of
Morgan
times.
had a great game.
It's not
for the
easy being a
Redblacks.
fan.
TSN really hyped up the thing for calling it the Philpott Bowl. And they had a Philpott tracker for like yards and touchdowns and catches. And Jalen
Lovely.
did not live up to it at all. Their mom was there and she had a half Alouettes, half Stampeders jersey on. And they kept showing her in the stands. It was cute. There was I saw it and I was on my way to the basketball. So then I couldn't find it again because unlike anyone else here, I don't have cable. So I can't go. Anyway, there was, I believe it was a special teams tackle on the sideline. And then the Alouette guy ran off the side after the tackle, ran to the side, sat on the bench and just crossed his legs and leaned back on the bench.
I missed that.
I think it was during when you guys were watching FIFA, but it was in the first quarter. I wish I remembered who it was because it was fun. It's fun to have fun, and it was very sassy. And I was like, "Oh, this is a Montreal Alouettes team." Yeah, and two little notes. One is Alexander able to have a hamstring transplant because it looks like he was grabbing his hamstring again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every Alouette fan in the world must just be cringing every time he even puts his hand near his leg. So, and then I'm just wondering if the Ticats can trade Sneed to start for us this week at QB because he looked pretty good.
Yes. His arm's okay.
Arm's okay. His arm looked pretty good.
Montreal, I think they're one to beat, right?
Unless except for Alexander's hamstring, that is their Achilles heel, if you will. Yeah. Everything rides on that one hamstring.
It's scary every time he reaches for it. But they say it's all fine. Nothing to see here.
Oh, yeah. It looks so great.
Yeah. He had to go to the sideline at one point, but then they thought he might have to take a few plays off, but he was right back. Yeah.
Well, they sent him into the room. I guess they don't have the tent at Montreal because the room is just off the sidelines. They sent him into the room at the start of a defensive series for them after he grabbed at it, and then he was out for the next series. So whatever they did.
If his hamstring is wrecked again, Toronto will be top of the East, and there'll be a crossover, and there'll probably be a West-West Grey Cup final.
It's possible.
It's the last Grey Cup, the last crossover playoffs of the CFL history. We're gonna have a West-West Grey Cup.
Yeah, that would be a fitting way to end 100 and some years of tradition.
What better chaos? What better CFL chaos than that? Hopefully his hamstring is fine, though, because he's a dynamic player who I really enjoy watching.
Yeah.
And Philpott's also really hoping that his hamstring is fine. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
this next one, MJ and MJ2, if you want to cover your ears for this segment, I will understand, because we've got to talk about the Sunday game. That was Hamilton going into Regina, scoring 7 points to Saskatchewan's 38. And frankly, the Ticats defense played a very good first half. They kept the game somewhat close and gave them a chance, but they were on the field too much and couldn't make up for the offensive mistakes, including a bunch of turnovers. Then in the fourth quarter, it just blew up. And again, I think it was like 20 points by Saskatchewan in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to go to you, MJ. Let you vent first.
Well,
Thoughts on it?
friends, it was like a 1-1 score there for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
For quite a while.
Stuart Johnson's favorite score. And then it was
Yes.
4-4 for a while.
Yes.
Another favorite CFL score of mine. And it was close till the half. And then Hamilton did not score a single point after halftime. Not a single one. Mercifully, my mom and dad were here, so we had the TV on in the background, and my mom was just like, just don't look. I'm like, okay. So again, a situation where you have good special teams, good defense, receivers who are usually good, and a bad quarterback. They ran Roundtree 9 times for 36 yards with a rookie-ish quarterback in Jake Dolegala who had 122 yards, but then they had a interception return for a touchdown for 107 yards. So what's 122 minus 107? That is his net yardage for the game. It's kind of like that Chris Streveler game, except for Chris won it.
I will jump in quickly and say that was also the world's slowest pick six return.
Everyone was so tired. It was so hot there. They were frying an egg in a frying pan on field level because it was like 50 degrees on the tarmac there. If you're a Ticat deep on the defense and you have been out playing in 45 to 50 degree weather all game, like, of course you're going to fade out.
Yeah, hard to keep focused.
Yeah.
And again, just before you go on, I'll also say Woods, the weak side linebacker that got that interception return, and he wouldn't have got in the end zone. He was going to get caught, except Jameer Thurman got back and made a very nice and a very smart block. He didn't come flying in and get a crackback block called against him for leveling a big hit. He just got back and got in the way of whoever it was that was getting close. So
yeah, that was nice. It was nice.
I like seeing smart plays like that. Carry on.
Yeah, so they had Dolegala doing short yardage, which I understand he's a short yardage QB, but I was like, I'm like, well, this is a dangerous game to play. And then if you had scored 0 after the third, why are you not putting your second quarterback in? Why? Why, Scott Milanovic?
I don't know why Dolegala started that, other than that we talked about it last week. And then
it looked like Scott, okay, I was told, like, the Ticats website says Jared Baines is the OC, but all I saw was Scott on his CB radio making play calls. So I was like, is Scott calling this game or is Jared calling this game?
Something rotten is going on in the state of Hamilton.
I need to know who to be upset about. Yes, there's something weird going on. Just like a micromanager who cannot delegate responsibility effectively, I think is Scott's issue. And then Keandre Smith, they interviewed him after the game, and he said that it was not Jake's fault in that they played so badly. He said that he's like, I don't want to hear anything about Jake. I don't want to hear anything about our defense or special teams. It is on our receivers. We dropped 8 or 9 passes that were catchable. That's on the receiving core. That's on me, and that's on the rest of our receiving group, and it will not happen next week. So I was like, thank you, Keandre. I appreciated that.
Oh, yeah, that was absolutely on the receivers. How can you have a receiver out there who doesn't have a 6-foot vertical to get up and catch those balls that Dolegala was throwing?
Were so high.
Were they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it looked like he had been playing in a while, but also I like, Jay and I were texting about this today. Like, why are you starting him? Like, if you've got someone that knows the team, has been with the team, been practicing with the team, and was dazzling in preseason. It just, and I get that maybe that's not how you've decided the vision for your team for this year. That is not how you've decided you want your team to look, but that's who you have. That's who has playing experience. So how do you not work with what you have instead of shaking that bag of former quarterbacks and who do we have? Great. That's what it seemed. I mean, I know that's not what happened, But as a Cat fan, it just is really, I think, so frustrating to know that you've got Trey Ford just sitting there doing what?
Yeah.
At what point are you setting Ford in? Like, has to be better. Has to.
It can't be in the last 2 minutes.
No, that makes no sense at all. And I didn't get it in the first place. I posted on Reddit last week. I said, to me, this is like your racing team and the Bugatti gets broke. So, well, we've got this Ferrari we got in the off season, but I don't really know how to drive that. So I'm going to go to the Ford Tempo.
Made no sense.
Change your offense and make use of what Trey does.
Starts. Remember how when we were talking this year, I'm like, the Ticats have decided not to have a GM. We're going to GM by committee this year.
Yeah.
Fail.
And I think this is the fallout of that, because when Bo's in, this all fragile ecosystem, like, it stays okay. But as soon as one piece drops out, it's completely crumbled, and there's nobody that is able to mitigate damage, and no one able to play. Drew Brown went and won a game with a team he hasn't played for in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just really frustrating because they put together a good team. So don't tell me you can't play call for another QB. Like, don't tell me that. But you know what, Scott? You are not a good coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you design your offense or your plays for the players' talents. If you are someone who builds an offense and then says, I'm going to get the players to plug in and make it work, you have a hard time adapting to changes.
And I know we sound really salty, but this is not the first go-around of this kind of nonsense for Ticats. This is, we have been through a lot. I know a Redblack fan was complaining to me, and I'm like, look it. If you want to start, like, going shot for shot on who's got it worse, I don't want to compare but, like, this has been a long haul. Like, we'd, like, watch Kent Austin, and we watched Ron Lancaster just, like, standing on the sideline having no idea what to do with anyone. I watched receivers yelling at Danny McManus. I watched a dual Jeremiah Mazzoli, Dane Evans. I watched them trade Jeremiah Mazzoli away. I did not resign him. We have watched a lot. And finally, they both came in, they benched him. And now finally something good has happened. And they just completely ruined it again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to sorry for my other therapy session, but I will be better next week.
Yeah, it's hard
I'm sure
to be a
there's
fan.
one or two other Hamilton fans out there listening who probably agree with you.
Like, you want to talk why there's not a lot of Ticat attendance this year? It's not random. This is brewing for a long time.
Which is so unfortunate because you have so many, dynamic players. You have the opportunities there and you're not being coached properly. And I feel like, at what point do you start making changes? And clearly they've chosen not to. And I think that's the most frustrating.
Be interesting to see what they do next week. And if you are out there listening or watching and you're a Hamilton fan, please let us know what you think. Do you agree with us here or not? GT, you've been very quiet through all of this.
Well, there's not much to say that you guys haven't already said. Jake Dolegala proved why he's a short yardage quarterback, because that's what he is. And he proved that why he's gone through 3 teams and ended up. And even we thought, why is he even there as the third string guy at one point? So they just gave him a game to prove it. If they can't understand that that's what he is after that game, then they're worse off than we thought they were. And I agree with everything you guys have said so far. Saskatchewan, like, they hung in for 3 quarters and it wasn't their defense and it wasn't their receivers and it wasn't their special teams. It was their quarterback throwing interceptions late in the game, and Saskatchewan feasted on their quarterback. And I'll say Saskatchewan didn't look great, and it will reflect in our power rankings later. That's the 3rd game in a row I thought Saskatchewan looked pretty bad, and they got a 4th quarter where Dolegala looked worse, and they took it full advantage of it. So, I wasn't, I watched that game again on speed dial, but I watched it through, slow speed dial, and it wasn't an impressive game, and it was mistakes. And if they're not going to go to Trey Ford, we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. It's the stuff that we've just, like we said earlier about the Argos situation and so on, this stuff is what we've been talking about since January. And now it's showing up again, and you just shake your head and go, why? Why is it still happening? What, as you guys have said, like they went out and signed Trey Ford. They knew what they had. They signed him. They spent money on him. They made him their second string quarterback for a reason. And they talked about how everything was going to be great. And then they've already thrown him out and thrown him under the bus and signed 4 other guys. So come on. It's just like, what was the whole point then? What was the point? If I was a Ticat fan, I'd be right where you guys are, just like unbelievably pissed off.
If you're Trey Ford, like, when do you walk away from this? At what point is this? This is no longer fun.
And like, I mean, he checked in Edmonton, and we know that he did, because why wouldn't he have checked out in Edmonton? Well, now is he already checking in Hamilton? And why wouldn't you? If they don't start him this week, and they haven't announced, but if they start Jake Dolagala again after that, why?
Was it UGT who's like, I hope Trey ends up in Calgary behind VA?
No, that would be amazing.
Because it's the right spot, on the right team with the right offense and the right quarterback coach to be able to get the best out of him, and maybe, just maybe, get him back on the right path. But I will say that there may be something there that we just don't see from the outside. That Trey might just have an issue that we're not aware of, because this is not the first rodeo where he's been sat down for lesser quality guys. So there is something to be said here that's lurking in the background. If they can't have a conversation between him and Milanovic and say, here's what we need you to do, and okay, I'm willing to do that, then both of them are at fault, and there's something going on, and they need to figure that out. But from the outside, first blushes, it's on the team, not on him.
On a slightly different topic, I mentioned when we were talking about the last game, I wasn't impressed with the officiating in this game either. And it's not the officiating was bad for one team. It was for both. And there were things like, to my mind, any time that either team got to within about 2 yards of first down, they got very generous spots that shortened up the distance they had to make. And that was consistent through both teams. There was an interference, or a possible interference, that didn't get called against Hamilton. Saskatchewan challenged it. There was early contact. It was close. The replay center said, we're not overturning the call. There's no PI. Okay, I'm good with that, if that's how you're calling it. Then later in the game, they called Peters from on the other side for Hamilton on a PI that was not as bad as the first one. There was no consistency to it whatsoever, and that's frustrating. And then the last thing was, unfortunately, after the Riders Fletcher and put in Sexton, who was a heck of a good returner and looked very good, he got hurt badly, and they took him off with his leg in an air cast. And then late in the game, Katsantonis came charging down on Johnson and bumped him out of the way for a nice interception, but hurt himself in that. And I don't know, I didn't see him come back into the game. I hope he's not out for a length of time, because they cannot afford to lose out on defense.
Well, you know what? We're already 1 win ahead of our 1-17 season, so it's already a victory, really.
Well, there's that, yeah. And then the last thing was, a lot of people were raving about Tommy Stevens going in to run out the game and ripping off a couple of 15, 20-yard runs to take it in for a touchdown. I'm sorry. I love Tommy's play. I love what he does. That had less to do with him and more to do with a bunch of defenders going, we're down by over 30 points and there's 2 minutes left of the game. I'm going to make a business decision. I'm not getting in his way.
I am here for my paycheck now. Thank you.
Yeah, well, not even necessarily for the paycheck, but it's just, it wouldn't be smart. No. You'd be hurting the team getting hurt in that situation. So that does take us to the power rankings. GT Barnum's CFL Outsiders
for this.
Week 6 power rankings. Go.
All right, so we have a new number 1. So finally, the Elks get their due, and they're coming in at number 1.
Our mom will be happy.
Yeah, they continue to win. It looked like, from everything that I read, because as I said, I didn't see the game. Everything I read, they took care of business. And it wasn't so much that Ottawa, they just did what they needed to do and won the game, which they should have. So they are Montreal is number 2. Montreal is looking like a team that we thought they would look like. and they are their defense is playing very well, and their offense is clicking, and that was some tremendous play calling on their behalf, as you said. So I will put them at number 2. Saskatchewan slides to number 3 because, well, they won. I didn't think they looked terrific, and they haven't looked terrific for the last 3 weeks. And it was more because of Hamilton's bad play than their great play. So I will give them that. Winnipeg number 4 this week because they won and because they look good, and because last week I said they could be flipping around depending on their play this week, and sure enough, they did that. So I will put them in at number 4. I have number 5, and I have Calgary at number 5, and then BC at number 6, but those two are in a toss-up as to where they could be after this week's games very easily. And then the last 3, I think, are kind of self-explanatory. Toronto at number 7, Hamilton at number 8, and Ottawa at number 9. So Toronto could move around again depending on their game this week. They look good, and then in the last 2 weeks they've been exposed in some ways. So this game will prove whether they can bounce back. But they are playing a team with no quarterbacking, or a team without a quarterback that has any confidence from his coach.
I got to say, there's nothing there that I disagree with, and at least one of the folks on Reddit will be happy because they were quite ticked off that you had BC higher than Winnipeg last week, calling it disrespectful. So they'll be happy to see Winnipeg back up there now. Unfortunately, I didn't take down the name of who it was.
But we didn't know what Winnipeg was going to have going into last week. And that's, as I explained, that's why I put them down where they were.
So
now that we know that Drew Bound, the arm is okay.
If Cassatonis is not playing,
we will
then
put them back
to
where they belong.
Well, I guess that could switch.
Yeah.
8, 9.
We still have
the
2
basement.
wins. We have 2 wins.
Yeah. But their defense, like I said, looked good, but it's hard to hold a team to
You know who else's
6
defense
points,
looks good?
which is
Ottawa's.
apparently what they would need to do.
Ottawa's a good defense. This is.
I think this is going to come down to coaching and how you get your players responding to a new quarterback, Hamilton.
Kinnear outplayed Dilligella Ford.
Who would have thought? Sorry, that's rude, maybe, but
I just don't understand this incessant because if anyone notices, pocket passes are a dying breed. There's no one really pocket passing anymore that's coming up. So why you have to live and die by pocket passing is beyond me. But
yeah. All right,
we're just saying you might have Hamilton too high.
Well, at least, as I say, they still have 2 wins, and Ottawa, even though they have a quarterback that they supposedly have faith in, they haven't proved that is justified. So that's the reason they're there.
The other thing that we didn't really mention when we talked about the game, and I thought you might put into the power rankings with the Riders, is their kicking situation. I'm concerned about it. Hale, maybe he turns into a good kicker, but he's sure struggling early here. They passed up 2 field goal attempts in that game. One of them worked out well. The punter put it out on the 3-yard line. The other one, he punted it through the end zone. They were on the 45. They punted, and it went through the end zone, and Hamilton got the ball on the 40. So a net 5 yardage on a punt without the ball being touched.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary. I'm worried about that. All right. Injury reports. We've only got the Tuesday practices, so it's not much. BC didn't really have anyone of note, but they did have 10 players listed as limited.
Oh.
Nobody did not participate, but they had 10 limited players. Edmonton, there was some trouble on the O-line and D-line. Beard and from center, and Jordan Williams from the D-line did not participate, and so was Verde, who they picked up after Saskatchewan released him at linebacker. And Metchie was limited. Calgary, 2 of the receivers did not participate. Brooks and Jones were DNP, and Grant from the defensive backfield did not participate. I think he's out for a while, but he's not on the 6-game list.
Yeah, Brooks and Jones were both illness, though, so that's a cold or a little bit. Oh. That's just, they'll give them whatever they need, antihistamines, and
too much stampeding is what that is.
Too much stampeding is right.
Yeah, that could be. I should have looked at what it was. I didn't look at that. That would make sense. So that's better for Calgary's hopes then. Yeah,
Bassett was posting photos from the Cowboys tent, so you just know where those boys were at.
Oh boy.
Well, gotta enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah. Toronto, Janarian Grant did not participate, and so was the punter Haggerty and Ojo from the D-line, and Cesar, who's been playing very well at halfback for them this year. He's a new player. He's looked really good. Him and Coxie were both limited. So whatever that's worth. And the other 4, Hamilton, Winnipeg, Ottawa, and Montreal, have not practiced yet. Saskatchewan's on the bye.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the
Maybe they're
one
gonna
that the
put
one that was
Bowen-
interesting there, the only other one that was interesting there was the Josh Haggerty thing in Toronto, because they also made a trade. I don't know if you saw it, but they made a trade with Ottawa for another global punter, James Burnip, and they traded an 8th round, conditional 8th round pick next year for him. So Haggerty has a hamstring injury. And so that's looking like it could be more than just, a tweak if they made a trade to get another punter in. Because at first I was like, why would they trade for a punter? And then it was like, oh, he's got a hamstring injury, so it might be a little worse. The interesting thing I thought about that, other than because it's a conditional 8th round pick, maybe, I don't know, maybe do you get nothing then if he doesn't sign? You don't even get the 8th round? I don't know what the condition is. But he's listed as 6'6" and 235 as a punter. That's a big guy kicking a ball.
Yeah.
That's a huge man. That's Tommy Stevens size, He's not going to stand on the sideline and give somebody a wave. He's going to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd think Ottawa would hold on to him.
Yeah, exactly. I was, because Ottawa, I thought, that's interesting from Ottawa as well, that after the shenanigans, and he might not be here if he doesn't step up, comments, well, they got nobody else now because you just traded him away for an 8th round conditional pick. So anyway, I thought the Haggerty thing from Toronto was of significance, that injury, or could be at least.
It could be, yeah. Or it could be like earlier when Montreal signed Lewis Ward to the practice roster for a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Just in case.
Yeah.
We don't know now.
Yeah, maybe Lewis Ward is available. Should check.
Sorry, I missed that.
But the Riders, are they phoning up Lewis Ward's agent? Just kicking the tires?
There should be some kickers out there, but I don't know where.
Manshard had a really bad first year, and now look at him bending.
Yeah, I know, but that's right now. The other thing with the Riders,
maybe he needs glasses like Castillo. Castillo got glasses, and now he's making all his kicks.
That's it.
Well, Hale wears glasses already, so maybe he needs better glasses. I don't know, but the Riders are also limited in that they pretty much need a global kicker the way they've set up their ratio. That's why Lowther, he didn't have a great season last year, but I think that's why he was let go, and they decided to just put both their globals on the kicking squad.
Well, they should have been watching the FIFA World Cup, see who's taking all these penalty kicks.
Yeah, all the corner kicks.
All right, let's get on to our game predictions. BC at Edmonton. You're in the upper left corner of my screen, GT. Start. You get to go first pick.
Hi, this is a relatively tough one, but because they played only 2 weeks ago and BC's coming off a bye and they're feeling the road, so to speak, after that last win against the same team. But I still think Edmonton's a better team, so I'm going to take Edmonton.
Okay, MJ?
Oh, it's hard to win at home. I'm going to take Elks.
Okay, MJ too.
Oh, I'm going Edmonton as well. Yep.
For me, there's a real temptation to go BC, and I think it's the hardest pick of the week, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I think if you watch the game, you'll find that Cody's got a old style telephone as one of his security blankets, and he'll have that, which he didn't have in Kelowna. And plus, I don't think it'll be a huge game for Rankin, but I do think that Edmonton will take it. So we're all on the Elk for that.
And it's bring your dog to the stadium game.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Cute.
So much fun.
Game to avoid.
Don't sit in that section if you don't like dogs. I hope they bark when Nathan's trying to throw the ball.
The only dogs that should be at a football game are catching frisbees at halftime.
Do that in Calgary. That rabbit runs out. There could be an ugly scene.
I feel like the rabbit made a touchdown.
He probably did.
It's kind of like herding cats some days here. Okay, so the next game, another second half of a home and home, a true home and home. This one, Montreal's coming out to Calgary. Now, last week on this one, again, I'm going to let you go first, GT. Last week you had picked Calgary and said it was going to be a low-scoring game, and I kind of agreed with you on it, and that ended up 37-30, which Maybe this year that is low scoring. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you see happening in Calgary?
I think I'm going to go with the same thing, a low-scoring game. Feels like it. I think Calgary's defense wants to play better, so that will impact it. And I thought VA just got in his own way last week. I didn't mention that, but it looked like that game where he's in his own head and trying to do too much himself. So it'll be interesting to see whether he bounces back, whether he can chill and get back to those good vibes, as MJ likes to say, at this game, because it didn't look like he was in that space at all last week. So hopefully he is, but I'm still going to take Montreal by, in a close game. I think Montreal's just proving to be that good a team right now.
Okay. MJ2, we'll go with you next.
Oh, this is the Folk Fest game. This is where last year I got to meet Jason Moss just randomly around. I'm hoping that happens again. And if it does, Jason Moss, please know I will again get a photo with you. This one was the one that I didn't know, but I'm going to pick Montreal. They right now seem to me to be unstoppable.
It's a tough one because, frankly, I think the difference in last week's game was the fact that Calgary had to travel across the country. And this time it's Montreal doing it. But I still think Montreal did look enough ahead that I'm going to go with them. So that leaves you, MJ.
Well, I think Calgary will win, but I'm not picking them because I cannot wear this jersey again. Sick of it. It's like a Philpott jersey, too. It's just like mocking
and it's got
me.
signatures on it.
Signatures everywhere. It's just like mocks me. I think VA will play better. I think that Stamps will play better. They're at home. VA seems to really like playing there. I think they're going to have a better game. I am actually very worried about Alexander's hamstring status. But
that would change everything.
Just for my own personal life, and I want to wear other things, I will be taking Montreal.
So it's a defensive pick on your part.
It's a defensive pick.
Yeah.
Just like Hamilton.
Hamilton. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so we'll let you go first, MJ, on the Toronto-Hamilton one now.
Is this a home game for Toronto in Hamilton?
Yes.
Okay. I know that there was some no stuff going on in Winnipeg and in Saskatchewan. I think the Hamilton fans that show up are going to make Chad's life miserable. And maybe Coxie will have another temper tantrum. But who is starting for Hamilton? Is Castantonis still injured? Because if he is injured and not playing, the defense doesn't play well when he is not playing. I know Whit and McManus is there now, so that is helpful, but they don't play well when Castantonis isn't playing. Oh my God, I hate this so much. I'm going to pick Toronto, and I hate myself.
I get it. I do not like picking them either, but if they do put Ford in there, and if Milanovic starts moving to more of an RPO type offense that takes advantage of what he can do, then maybe Hamilton, but no, based on everything I've seen so far, I've got to go Toronto as well.
If only he would. If only he would do an RPO offense, then Hamilton has a good shot at this. They do not.
Yeah.
I mean, what
MJ2.
is Schultz up to these days?
Yeah, what is Schultz doing? Was he the one that Bob Dice let play that game?
Yeah.
Because he was retiring?
Yeah.
Well, Bob's in
Retired at
Hamilton
halftime.
now. Bob's in
Anyway.
Hamilton now. Maybe he'll let him.
There's hate picking Toronto, but they are the better team going into this week. So Toronto it is.
Okay. And GT.
So this is Toronto's home game in Hamilton. It's 40 minutes down the road. They've had 2 home games in Saskatchewan and Winnipeg where already played, where they managed to sell about 30,000 tickets in each game. Very successful in each of those 2 cities that are thousands of kilometers away. This is 40 minutes down the highway. It's Tuesday. The game is Saturday. And I still have no idea where my tickets are in Hamilton. They cannot tell me 5 days in advance where and when we are going to find out where our season tickets are in Hamilton for this home game, 40 minutes down the highway. You talked about things that Toronto does wrong. This is the biggest thing they've done wrong. I gave them kudos last week for things they did right and some of the things they do right. And I like to talk about the things the Argos do right because they get a lot of crap thrown at them. But this one, no. There is no excuse in my mind for this game to still, as season ticket holders, as an Argonaut season ticket holder, 5 days before the game, to have not heard from them, have no idea. And when I spoke to them a week and a half ago, because I didn't have my tickets yet, I said, what's going on? They sent me back saying, well, we don't know yet because we're still putting together the master list to send to Hamilton. And I'm thinking, you're 2 weeks and you haven't got the master list of season ticket holders that have said they're going to the game or not. They can blame it on us again because maybe some season ticket holders did wait until the last minute to tell them they wanted to use the tickets or not. But they had a firm cutoff date back in May that I answered to, and then they extended 3 times. So why did they extend it 3 times? And our Hamilton fans have to wait before they can buy tickets to this game because they don't know where they can sit either until the Argos season tickets are allocated for the seats. So you don't know. So if you're a boxed J boy, you could be up in the rafters because I could be sitting there in your seat. But you don't know
Are you
that
gonna wear
yet.
your kilt?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not a chance. It's just a schmozzle, and it's 5 days before the game. It's ridiculous. This is so unprofessional. I'm sorry. This is just, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
What's going on in the Toronto office this year?
I don't know. This is like they brought in all these new people, right? They brought in Hufnagel, they brought in Barker, they added all these people. That's still football off. Like, who is doing this? Like, is this MLSE? I know their ticket guys are the same guys that run the Leafs, the Raptors, the TFC, whoever else they have. So maybe they're just overwhelmed. I don't know. But it's just ridiculous nonetheless. Again, it's a slap in the face to the Argo fans that MLSE is just, again, giving us the gears. So it's crazy. And that's what I will say. And that's what I've been teasing all that I wanted to get into is this is just ridiculous. In the meantime, Toronto's going to win this game because Hamilton has no quarterback. And at least if they do, they have one who has no confidence from his coach.
Well, just from memory, I know that Toronto fans, it is such a short hop, skip, jump over to get to Old Iverwin. And so, yeah, like chances are that if last minute tickets are available and Hamilton's not looking great, I wouldn't want to pay money to go see my team lose against the Argos.
Yeah.
So I hope it sells out for the Argonauts, and that would be amazing to have that true home field advantage.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, Hamilton fans were just looking forward to this because they could just give it to the Argos with Bo there and everything else. It was going to be a great game. Now, as you say, like, there's not much momentum. And if the weather's a little rainy or whatever, like it might be, I expect this to be a very badly attended game. I'm also expecting, I'd say, if I would put out a number, if there's 15,000 people there, I'd be surprised.
Ticat fans are very petty about the Argos. How much do the Argos get of ticket sales and like beer and like food sales? Do we know that?
I have no idea. I don't know what they make from the concessions, and are they their games? Do they take a cut each or whatever? I don't know how that works.
Because you just know there's like some Ticat fans in Hamilton that are like, I am not going to that and paying money for a beer that's going to be giving money to the Argos.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if the weather's a little off as well, it's going to be like, they are. And again, you got to make a decision on 2 days' notice whether you want tickets and what tickets you're going to get. Like, because you don't know until the Argos they figured out the Argos season tickets. They can't do anything about the general tickets for anybody else. Like I say, it's Tuesday. The game's Saturday. Crazy.
I hope for you, GT, that if it's sunny and hot, you're sitting on the shady side.
There's no shade.
If it's a bit rainy,
there is no shade at
then
Hamilton.
you'll just be sitting under the cover.
There's no shade.
And then you
in
have
Hamilton.
a great time. I hope you have a great time. And I
Or
hope
maybe
it's a
your
good game.
dog section, and how lovely
I
would
hope
that
you're
be?
in the dog second in dogs.
Oh, I'm gonna have a great time. Yeah, the dog section. That is it. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Surrounded by little blue plastic bags. I just look forward to it. Great.
before it goes off the rails completely, we're almost done here.
Oh, are you picking Toronto too, old man?
Oh, me? I thought I did go, yeah, Toronto. Sorry.
Okay. I was going to write Hamilton down if I hadn't heard from you.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I got to pick it.
I know.
So,
That's how it
Isn't this a
MJ2,
podcast team?
Winnipeg and Ottawa.
Oh, Winnipeg. Sorry, Ottawa. Not sorry.
Yeah.
Boy! Even later.
GT?
I saw that Zach may play, but that Drew Brown is still getting first-team reps, and I'm just looking forward to Drew Brown going back into Ottawa. That's going to be so delicious. That is going to be so much fun. So, yeah, I'm taking Winnipeg by a couple at least. Couple of touchdowns at least.
This is the game I'm looking forward to most this week because in all my heart, I hope Drew Brown goes there and just I want them to pan to Ryan a lot.
I don't want
Anytime Drew makes a nice pass,
I just want them to never leave Ryan for the entire game. Just one
just
camera
have
in
a little
the corner.
camera.
Yeah.
A little camera in the screen of Ryan real time reacting to Drew's touchdown pass.
Yeah. Because he's going 40 yards to Kenny at least once or twice, right? At least. This is
I can't wait.
This is the funnest game of the year.
Yeah. Yep. I hope all the Redblacks fans are also going to cheer for Drew Brown. I think some of them might be.
Okay, well, I'm also sorry, Ottawa. I'm picking Winnipeg. And did you get your pick in, MJ? I glitched there for a moment.
Winnipeg, and I want them to have a fan cam on Ryan. Guys, we are so boring this week. We have all agreed. I want to take Calgary, but I'm not.
Montreal.
Defensive Montreal pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Defense wins championships.
Right. Yeah, because if you pick them, you don't have to wear the jersey.
That's
Sorry,
right.
my bad.
Oh.
Did I mention earlier my allergies have me in this kind of fog that I have no idea what's going on, to tell you the truth.
This has been the easiest. I think the hardest game was the BC.
Yeah,
Edmonton
BC
game.
Edmonton. I'm still not sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, that gets us about to the end here. Nothing left but our final thoughts. Maybe MJ2 will let you go first. Closing thoughts. I know you don't do social media, but you can direct people just to look for the CFL Outsiders, and I'll pass anything on to you.
Please do. If you have a comment, please, wherever you comment on Blue Sky, YouTube, wherever that is. Yeah, if you have a question that you'd like to pass on.
We're just about everywhere except Facebook. Yeah. If it's Instagram, MJ will have to pass the comments along. Otherwise, So any last thoughts? Thank you for joining us this week again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Just as a final, because Stampede just ramped up or ended, I want to shout out to the Crazy Cree relay team. They're from Hart Creek First Nation and Treaty 6. They won the relay race championship this year with jockey Tyrell McGilvery riding. If you have not checked out the relay races, that is something that you should check out. It is so much fun. They call it the original extreme sport. So so shout out to the Crazy Cree team. Congratulations.
Okay. Do you have any kind of a link to it on, is there anywhere like YouTube or something?
Yeah, they've been posting a lot. The Calgary Stampede has been posting a lot of the videos of them on their Facebook page.
If you don't mind, email me the link and I'll put it in the show notes for anybody who wants to check it out.
I will for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
E.T.
Oh, a couple of quick things. Sorry, a couple of things that I forgot to get into this week, into other discussions that I wanted to just quickly bring up before saying goodnight. As I talked about last week in Calgary, the quote for Vernon Adams was in the air tonight, and everything was working, and it's been waiting for this for my moment for all my life, and so on. And this week, I'm going to use something else that's a little more obscure, but still a well-known song. And here it is, and maybe some of you will get it. I hope that I did. I was going to go twice throughout, but I will give you a bit of a hint. It is a Canadian act. I will only say that. And it is take me, get me out of here. Come on, please help me out. And that's another part of the song says, losing my head on the road, light up there, Montreal, won't you let it come on down? So those are two sets of different places in the same song. and I'll let you guys try to figure it out. But that was, as you could probably tell, in lieu of VA's game in Montreal this past weekend. And I will say that. And also, if you're at all interested, I thought you might like to know that I did stumble across the DraftKings, I think it was DraftKings, Grey Cup halftime betting odds for the halftime act. And at this point, Brad Paisley is plus 250 as the number one. Nickelback comes in at number two at plus 380, which was great because I think they were right up there in my list of that have them done so far. And MJ's first choice way back when it was announced, Tate McRae is plus 3,300. So those are some of the more interesting ones. If you're interested in finding out, there is a list of what you want. If you want to bet foolishly, like most people do, there you have some other ones to bet on. And other than that, yes, I am occasionally on Blue Sky at GT Barnum at blueskysocial.net or .net.social, whichever it is. And that's about it for now. Thank you. Sorry for rambling.
Yes, and if they follow the same pattern as last year, you'll be able to bet on the Grey Cup halftime act up until the Eastern and Western finals, probably.
We've been paying attention to commercials this year to see if anyone has music commercials like last year, like Machine Gun Kelly. I was like, we'll see.
So
if they don't have Tate McRae, that's a complete travesty.
Oh, I think so.
And a complete huge miss. Like, if it's not Tate McRae, then what are we even doing here?
All right. Anything else before you?
Yes. Well, we had some good feedback and comments on Instagram. GT, your Canada Shore stuff was a big hit. So keep it coming. Some other Ticats fans who wanted to commiserate. So, misery loves company, and we're all doing this CFL thing together. Yes, I'm on Sports and Plants. I am currently posting about the All-Star games, but that wraps up this week, and then I'll be back to football. And yeah, I'm at the game on Friday in Edmonton with a bunch of BC Lion fans, so don't hold that against me.
All right. Enjoy the dogs. Okay, and I am absolutely beat, so ready to move along here. I don't know that I've got anything else to say other than this last weekend we saw the first two real blowouts of the season, and I have a feeling we may see a couple more this week, and I hope not. But just hope for the best. Hope that it's good competitive football. No Thursday night game this week. They start on Friday, 2 on Saturday and Sunday, so I'll be dropping Old Man Plays CFL Weekly Fantasy on the Friday afternoon or noontime or so. And other than that, like I said, I'm done. So for special guest MJ2, for MJ, for GT, this is Old Man saying until next week, get the hell off my lawn.